They were summoned from the hillside, they were called in from the glen, and the country found them ready at the stirring call for men. Let no tears add to their hardships as the soldiers march along, and although your hearts are breaking, make them sing this cheery song. Keep the home fires burning while your hearts are yearning. Though your lads are far away, they dream of home. There's a silver lining 'neath the dark cloud shining. Turn the lining inside out till the boys come home.
These are the faces of the home front, the millions of workers and volunteers whose efforts fed, clothed, armed, and equipped Canadian forces overseas, and whose legacy was the transformation of Canada into a thriving industrial nation.
Growing up out on the prairies in Regina, all during the war, two words rang through my childhood: war effort. The big thing was salvage. We collected bundles of newspapers, bundles of metal coat hangers, jam pots filled with cooking fat, silver foil from cigarette packages rolled into great big balls. And all of this collected, taken to depots, houses at corners of blocks. I have to tell you, I don't know if any of that stuff was ever actually put to material use in winning the war. But I do know one thing. It kept us part of the war effort, and somehow it made it my war.
On June 6, 1944, the war effort sent 25,000 Canadians to the D-Day invasion of Normandy. And along with them, all the vehicles, vessels, and armaments stamped, made in Canada. After 5 years of preparation and waiting, at last there was a foothold on the shores of occupied France. Canadian Army nurses were part of medical teams sent to the front.
We were issued all our battle dress and gear and large packs and small packs and the webbing just like the men. And we did route marches, and we were supposed to be toughening up. And we got into lorries and eventually moved up to near Bayeux. And this is where all the hospitals were concentrated at one time, British and Canadian. And we set up and got going, and of course the casualties started coming in.
When we first got in France, we set up our tents. There was mud about a foot deep, and you'd be trying to make a bed, and the sheets would get down in the mud. So what are you supposed to do? We didn't have any water to wash, nothing. And it wasn't too long before the wounded came coming back. The doctors worked round the clock, and we did too. I think the sad part was that all these young chaps coming back without arms and legs, and the operating room just went. And what they did, they didn't try to repair too much. They put casts on, and as soon as they could, they sent them back to England.
715 Canadians were wounded the first day.
There were infections of all kinds, and suddenly penicillin was discovered, and it was shipped. We were the first to get it. It wasn't used in Canada. It was sent overseas because it was needed so badly. That was all day long. I went up and down and shot everybody with penicillin, so this was my name. I was called Penicillin Queen.
so much of it was that we were so young. I think we were strong in mind and body because we had a goal and we had an aim to get this thing finished. And our whole effort was devoted to getting the job done.
By the summer of 1944, the Canadian Army had been fighting up the mountainous spine of Italy for 9 harrowing months. The Germans' defenses were as strong as their resolve to hold their ground. On June the 4th, 1944, just before D-Day, Canadians took part in the capitulation of Rome. Their triumph was overshadowed by the news from France and relegated to the back pages of the newspapers. They felt forgotten.
We were enormously pleased to hear about D-Day because we thought it would take some of the pressure off us. At that point, we had been reduced, the 8th Army and all of the armies in Italy had been reduced to skeleton armies so that they could beef up the D-Day people. So that we were doing, our regiment was doing 3 regiments' job, you know, and suffering the consequences. It was like having a boil lance. We thought, oh my God, there's a chance for us.
When they announced in the Houses of Parliament that the British, Canadians, Americans had landed in France, she says, well, where's all the rest of them? Where's the New Zealanders? Where's the Australians? Where's all these people? They're nothing but dodgers. And that's where the thing come from, D-Day Dodgers. So we made up a song in Italy about it. We are the D-Day Dodgers in sunny Italy.
We fought into a Jira holiday with pay. The Jerrys brought the bands out to greet us on the way. Showed us the sights and gave us tea. We all sang songs, the beer was free. We are the D-Day Dodgers in sunny Italy. The Moro and Ortona were taken in our stride. We didn't really fight there, we went just for the ride. Sleeping till noon and playing games. We live in Rome with lots of dames. We are the D-Day Dodgers in sunny Italy.
In France, villagers gave a warm welcome to their liberators, including many of Quebec's French-speaking servicemen, who could trace their ancestry back to Normandy.
I'm French-Canadian, and I love the idea of France being liberated. And again, I'd been spent some time in France in 1941, when I'd been shot down, and I managed to make my way back to England with the great help of the French people. And I was always looking very much forward to getting back to France, to be able to visit these people.
Canadians were now fighting their way into coastal communities, street by street, hedgerow by hedgerow. They were up against the elite 12th SS Division, battle-hardened officers leading a force made up in part of fanatical teenagers, savage in their devotion to the Nazi cause, the Hitler Youth.
The first night, we found a lot of young Germans. They were soldiers, young, about people of 15, 16. And we lined them up, and I passed in front of them, and one of them spit in my face. And it was easy for me to just take my